Hello and welcome to another episode of Cosmic Commentary, the sickness special. There's no Cos because he's at exams. It's just me and Abdul today. We pretty much just recapped on the Champions League from last week because we missed out on that. A little bit of the Premier League from last week, and of course the Premier League this week with the massive game between Liverpool and Manchester City. And of course we had to touch on all the other games as well, but mainly it was the big one. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. So we're back after a bit of a break. We had a few absentees last week, and we almost missed out on this week too. So it's crazy town. Cos is unfortunately with us today. We have Abdul.
Hello.
And me and Abdul taking the reins today.
That's right.
Like I said, we missed last week,
Mm-hmm.
which means we missed last week of Premier League. Fortunately, nothing huge happened last week in Premier League.
Nothing crazy.
There was Bournemouth's win over Manchester United, which was huge, but I don't think it was that unexpected because Bournemouth are a good side. They're at home. Manchester United aren't terrible, but it's just that's the Premier League this season.
Absolutely.
It's just everyone's taking points of everyone,
Especially this early, anyway.
Yeah, it's 12 games in. People losing their minds. It's a bit ridiculous, to be honest.
That's an understatement. People losing their minds.
It is ridiculous. But amongst the Premier League, we also missed out on the Champions League. Now, that was a bit mental.
No, it's crazy.
We had some. Well, I mean, not all the results were crazy. I mean, the Champions League is still the Champions League. But as I predicted at the start of the season, those three groups that are causing all the issues.
Okay, which groups are those?
All right, so the last three groups, funnily enough. Mm-hmm. So, what was it? E, F, G, I think it is.
Yeah.
Rather F, G, H.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll just throw in E because Liverpool's in it. But yes. So, well, actually, before we get into what actually happened in the groups, Haaland has, I think, scored in every game so far in the Champions League.
Very impressive.
A couple of penalties. But still, he's 19 and he scored in every game. It's the first player to have done it since, who was it? There are either two or three players that have done it, but two of them were Mbappe and Diego Costa. So he's in fine company to I think to have scored in the first four games as a teenager in the Champions League.
So his future is pretty much bright. So
he is very bright. Yeah. It's very bright. But that group's less important. Groups F and G and H. We'll start with Group F. That's the group of Barcelona and Borussia Dortmund, Inter Milan.
I mean,
it's the group of death.
It is, and if people remember my prediction, I really did have Inter Milan coming out of that group.
They can still get out.
They can, but this is not good.
It isn't.
For me, they had to beat Borussia Dortmund, in my opinion.
Well, even a draw would have been fantastic.
It would have been at least something. But,
Well, they had a 2-0 lead away from home against Dortmund.
Yes, I know.
And then Dortmund just pulled off this amazing comeback. 3-2. I mean, congrats to Dortmund. Very heartbroken in Italy. Yeah. But still hoping that Barcelona is the team to get knocked out here.
No, absolutely. But that draw, though.
Yeah, they drew at home to Slavia. 0-0.
Wow.
Slavia had basically nothing to play for.
That's a good result.
Yes, Slavia Prague. Slavia Prague will be jumping for joy. That is their second draw. So Inter Milan's draw. So they've drawn twice now away from home.
Yeah.
They've played both their home games. They've lost.
Yeah.
Both their away games they've drawn. So
what are we looking like? So you're saying Inter still might have a chance?
Oh, definitely. Well, here's the situation now.
Okay.
Barcelona has 8 points.
Yeah.
Borussia Dortmund has 7.
Yeah.
Inter Milan has 4. Now. The remaining games have Inter Milan playing Barcelona at home and then playing against Slavia Prague away from home.
Yeah.
And let's remember Slavia Prague have lost both their away games. So I don't know if that's still going to happen this time, but
they couldn't still draw. I mean, that's...
Yeah, they could still draw.
Yeah.
But the key thing here is Barcelona have to play Dortmund. Now, let's just say Barcelona beats Dortmund, right? Then Dortmund is stuck on 7 points. Dortmund will play Slavia and probably win that game, in which case Inter Milan can still go through if they win both their games, because they have a better head-to-head than Dortmund.
Yes.
So Dortmund, if if they lose to Barcelona,
Yes.
they'll be on 7 points.
Which I'm hoping. Yep.
Inter Milan will hopefully, they have to beat Slavia Prague because otherwise it's gone. It's over. Which will put them also on 7 points, which will make them go ahead of Dortmund.
Because
And then obviously they win their last game, then they can't get hopscotched by Dortmund.
So you're saying though, at some point, based on what you just said, because of their next match, they have to beat Barcelona. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
They have to beat Barcelona. Yes, they're definitely.
Now that's a tough.
At home.
I know they're at home. And
Barcelona is not the Barcelona that we.
I get it, but you know what, man?
know and despise.
I tell you what, I understand what you're saying, but it's still they gotta win too.
Oh yeah, this is very hard. This is very hard.
They made it hard for themselves.
But what I'm saying is that it's kind of still in their own hands.
Yeah, true.
Because the other result, let's just say Dortmund beats Barcelona, right?
Yes.
In which case, then if Inter beats Barcelona, they go ahead of Barcelona.
Okay.
So they go ahead again. And also, if Dortmund and Barcelona draw, Dortmund will be a point ahead of Inter Milan, so Inter Milan won't be able to catch Dortmund if they also beat Slavia Prague.
That's right.
But Barcelona will only have 9 points, and Inter Milan will have 10 if they win their last 2 games. Okay. Therefore, it's still in their own hands. Okay. They win the next 2 games, they go through no matter what.
No matter what.
It just depends on who goes with them.
All right.
So, in that case... Now it's still worth watching. For that.
Absolutely. So you're looking at G here.
Yeah.
Group G.
All right. So now Group G. Group G is the group that has. This is probably the worst group in the Champions League.
Why are we talking about it?
Okay. So the reason we're talking about it is Leipzig's won. We don't really care about who's won and who hasn't. We want to look at the way the table looks.
Yes.
It's still basically anyone's game. Leipzig are on top with 9 points. Yeah. Lyon are second with 7. Zenit have 4. Benfica have 3. So anybody can still make it in. Anyone can get knocked out.
Even Benfica.
Okay, Benfica can't knock out Leipzig.
No, even if they did, I'm saying they still got a chance with 3 points.
Yeah, 3 points. Yeah, of course, because Lyon's on 7 only. So there's still 2 games to play. So that game's still open. But by far the most exciting group this week was the Group H week, and they're just the most exciting group at the moment because they've got Lille is basically gone, but there are 3 teams on 7 points.
That's amazing.
Ajax, Chelsea, Valencia, all on 7 points.
Amazing.
The game of the round by far was Ajax Chelsea.
Yeah.
Rather Chelsea Ajax because it was in Chelsea.
Yeah.
So do you know anything about this game, Abdul?
I haven't really had the chance to watch that game.
Okay. Well, all right. Let me talk you through this game.
Yes, please.
It doesn't do it justice when you talk through the game. You go through the emotions, but all right. So Chelsea scored first, but in the wrong goal. So it was 1-0 to Ajax after 2 minutes.
Abraham scored his own goal.
Jorginho then scored a penalty in the 4th minute, so it was 1-1. Quincy Promes, I don't know who that is, but he scored in the 20th minute. So 20 minutes gone, 2-1 to Ajax, and 35th minute, absolutely bizarre own goal. There was a free kick. It was a great free kick. It hit the post, the far post. The keeper went to get a hand to it, just out of his reach, came off the post, came back into his face, and bounced into the goals.
How can that be an own goal?
Well, because it wasn't going into the goals.
Oh.
Because it hit the post, it was coming out, it hit him in the face.
And
then when it was sort of like the ultimate humiliation. So at this stage, Ajax were 3-1 up with 1 shot on target.
That's crazy. Honest to God, that's
one
crazy.
Shot on target. So
3-1.
Wow. And 1 shot on target.
Yeah.
I cannot emphasize that enough. 1 shot on target. It's not even half time. 3-1 up. So we got to half time. Everyone's had their team talks. Get back into it. Chelsea on the front foot, going at it, but against the run of play, Ajax score another one to make it 4-1.
Jeez.
So it's 4-1 at the moment. And then at some point, while it was 4-1 or 4-2, Kurt Zouma, so he's the centre back for Chelsea.
Yeah.
He does this run. It's like a Maradona run through the middle of the pitch. So he runs past like 3, 4, 5 players.
I saw that.
Gets to the edge of the box
and then
blast it.
Yeah.
Takes out some guy.
It's a good run
in Rosie. And the camera switches to Lampard, and he just laughed.
He was laughing, yeah.
And his team's 4-1 down at home in a Champions League game.
Which, by the way, when I saw that highlight, I did not know the scores.
Yeah.
So him smiling at 4-1.
It was at best 4-2.
Yeah.
Then, Azpilicueta gets a goal on the 63rd minute. It was offside.
Yep.
But it stood for whatever reason. I don't understand why it stood, but it did.
They even went to VAR?
Yeah, of course it went to VAR. It went to VAR, and VAR said, I don't give a damn. And it went. And it went through.
Yeah, it went
and
through.
It was 4-2. And I was expecting it to go back to 4-1, but it didn't happen.
4-2.
So, now, a bit of comedy.
That was on the 63rd minute.
So, in the 68th minute, so it's 5 minutes later, Chelsea awarded another penalty. But in the lead up to the penalty, there was a slide tackle from Daley Blind,
Yes.
who was already on a yellow card,
Oh, no.
got his second yellow card, and then the guy who handballed it in the box and gave away the penalty, also on a yellow card, also got his second yellow card. So both of them got red cards in one swift motion, plus the penalty, which Jorginho converted to make it 3-4.
So wait, so two Ajax players
Two Ajax players got sent off
at the same
time. I don't think it's ever happened before. Wow. Thanks to VAR, it's probably although it had nothing to do with VAR, but it just happened to, I don't know. They just played on, and then he got the second yellow.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, he gave the referee two bites at the cherry. He makes one tackle, which is a yellow card offence, and then he makes a slide tackle just to make sure that he cops. So a triple whammy there for Ajax to make it 3-4. Two substitutions came on before Chelsea make it 4-4 3 minutes later.
I'm guessing those
the defensive substitutions. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think these two were both midfield. No, one was a defender, one was a midfielder.
Yeah.
No. Daley Blind plays as a defender now, so two defenders.
So at this point, it's when they made those subs.
I think they were both centre backs as well.
So 3-4.
It's 3-4.
So we're trying to, and that was at the 71st minute.
And then basically 2 minutes after the substitutions are made, another goal is scored.
2 minutes.
It just congested. It bounced to some guy on the edge of the box. Reece James takes a shot through the crowd.
Yeah.
Ends up in the goal.
Cool.
4-4. Then once again. Tammy Abraham scored it was technically Azpilicueta who took the shot. I think Tammy Abraham got a touch just before it went.
Yeah.
Azpilicueta does he scores the goal, goes mental, sprints towards the byline, does the full slide, kisses the badge, kisses the armband, everything, and a couple minutes later, handball. Disallowed.
Oh, wow.
Disallowed. It hit someone's arm on the way through. I can't remember who.
Yeah.
But it hit someone's arm on the way through. It was another pile driver from
Abraham.
Azpilicueta. I think because he got like a header onto the
yes.
like a touch on the line or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, then it got disallowed, and it just fizzled out there a bit for Chelsea because you know how it is after you get a goal disallowed from VAR.
Of course.
And then it ended up 4-4. So I think both coaches were sort of okay with the result after all that happened,
especially Chelsea, surely.
Yeah, well, I mean that disallowed goal at the end, sort of like, but they were just like, look,
no,
after a game like that, who cares?
Yeah,
who cares what happened? And Ajax, of course, they were a bit disappointed that they got two red cards in one hit, and everyone's sort of looking at that, going, that can't be right. Like he shouldn't have done that. And then you look back and you're like, well, he was right. Two yellow cards. So. That was.
I mean, how can you go to another game? That's crazy.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, actually, that brings up another thing. Last midweek, which we missed out because we weren't here last week, there was the League Cup, right?
Yes, that's
and right. I don't know if you watched this game. Arsenal played Liverpool.
I remember that with the youngins that play all.
Yeah, so the kids, half of them were the kids.
Yeah.
Well, Arsenal had. Maybe 6 players that were kids, and then probably a few experienced guys. Liverpool was similar as well.
Mix, yeah.
But Arsenal had experienced players on the bench, whereas Liverpool just had more kids on the bench.
That's right.
So it was sort of a game where I was sort of expecting, Liverpool holding them off, but eventually the subs will come on, experience will take over, and it's done. It was a 5-5.
Yeah, I watched that game.
5-5 in normal time.
That's crazy.
Normally, when you check the scores,
and
they count the penalty scores as well within the scores.
Okay.
Well, that happens, right?
Okay. What was it?
Well, here, obviously, like after, it was 10-9, like in the end because of penalties, but you look at the 5-5 and you think, oh yeah, that must have been like penalties or something, and that's why it's 5-5. But no, that was real time. They scored 5 goals apiece. There was some rippers in that one.
It was actually some good games.
But that was
some good goals.
That was just a a bit of a crazy couple of midweeks really. Bit in Europe, bit of thing. So that leaves that group quite tightly poised. The rest of the groups are basically going as expected. Paris, Saint-Germain and Real Madrid topping their group.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Bayern
a
Munich and
whooping
Tottenham.
to a Galatasaray.
Galatasaray, yeah, 6-0 from
Jeez.
Real Madrid. That's a poor effort to lose 6-0 to Real Madrid.
Absolutely.
This Real Madrid side.
It is away, but still.
Tottenham, even though they got demolished by Bayern Munich, are still clear second in their group. They have 7 points to Bayern Munich's 12. Red Star Belgrade on 3 after 2 demolition jobs from Tottenham. 5-0 and 4-0 in consecutive games. Group C, Manchester City and a fight for second place. At this point, that fight is going to Shakhtar or Dynamo Zagreb. Atalanta sort of trailing on 1 point, but they're still in it. They could still make it through, but it's unlikely. But they need to play those 2 teams that are above them. So that makes it, which also means that those 2 teams above them have to play Manchester City. So
that's right.
So they're actually a decent chance of still making it out of the group if they can win their last 2 games, just like Inter Milan. So Italy, still hope. Speaking of which, Juventus and Atletico Madrid clear ahead of theirs, 10 points, 7 points. The nearest contenders on 3 points. And Liverpool and Napoli, at this stage, look good, but there's still a slight opening for Salzburg to get through. They need to beat Napoli and Genk to go through, and Napoli still need to travel to Liverpool. So if Salzburg beat Napoli, I think it's away from home, then they'll go through. But it's a tough ask. Actually, no, they've already played each other twice, so it's not in their hands anymore. Napoli just needs to beat Genk in their off games, I think, and the rest of the games we've already gone through. So
Champions League.
Well, that's the Champions League wrapped up.
Oh, I'll tell you what, this is pretty interesting. I think. Well, anyway, my prediction is still I'm sticking with it.
Inter Milan's going to come through, plow through. They always start slow, just like any good Italian side.
Yep.
And then they come through in the end.
Yes.
But that was last week. Was it last week's midweek? Yeah, last week's midweek. Wow, that's anyway. That leads us to the Premier League.
Yes, sir.
We'll just go straight into the Premier League. We won't bother with the other leagues because at this stage they're all just it's international break now.
Yeah.
Everything's gone back to the status quo more or less, except for the German League. German League's great.
Okay.
German League's fantastic, but every other league in Serie A's got that title race going.
Yes.
Premier League has their own title race, of course, and
of course.
So the Premier League title race is a funny one, right? Because it's kind of like a double race.
How's it a double? It's a lock.
So no. What I'm saying with it, a double race, I'm saying there's 2 parts to it, right? There is the competition that the sides have, between themselves.
That's right.
Like in the head-to-head, all that stuff, and then there's a competition they have against the rest of the teams in the league. It's like who can get more points from everybody else. This week they got to try that other one, the head-to-head competition
between each other.
We got to see that one. Yeah. Liverpool playing against Manchester City.
What a game. And,
the game started arguably last week.
Yeah.
When they were both playing at the same time.
Yeah.
Against different teams.
Yeah.
Which happens rarely. I can't remember the last time it's happened, other than the final day of the season. Manchester City fell behind to Southampton, which was... So this is last week, the week we missed. And they were leading for a decent chunk of that game. After that demolition job from Leicester... It was a bit of a shock, They did a good job. They got some fight in them. Abdul.
Southampton, yeah.
They got some fight.
After that whooping, they
got something. And then Manchester City sort of equalised. I can't remember. It was like the 50th something minute, and then like by the 80th minute or something like that, they got their winner. At this stage, Liverpool had been losing for basically the entire game against Aston Villa up until the 85th minute or something like that. They're really loving to leave it late now.
I saw that game.
Yeah. They did it with Tottenham. Now they did it with Aston Villa, and they finally got the equaliser. like 85th, 86th minute, sort of in that region.
That's right.
And
the winner.
But they didn't stop. They kept going. They got the winner in the 91st minute.
91st minute.
And it was like Manchester City and Liverpool having mind games with each other because they're playing at the same time. And then Manchester City, they're like, yeah, we got our win. Yeah, what are you going to do now? And they're like, well, okay, we'll equalise and we'll get a winner as well. You know?
How awesome would that have been if that game, those two games, happening at the end of the season?
Yeah. Or like the final day.
That's right. It would have been a reverse.
That would have been like the old Aguero thing. Well, obviously, you know, if it meant something, if there wasn't a 9-point gap.
Yeah.
So if it was,
I'm talking about
they needed to win the title. That would have been
awesome.
That would have been almost exactly except that
Close.
other one, because it would that's just the kind of stuff you dream for. But
That's right.
But this week we got it didn't disappoint.
Nah.
Last season when these two teams met at Anfield. It was a 0-0 draw. It wasn't a disappointing 0-0 draw. It was still exciting, but it was a 0-0 draw. We didn't get any goals. This game was completely different.
Wow.
Manchester City came out all guns blazing.
Guns blazing.
You wouldn't have noticed this because you watched the extended highlights. And the first Liverpool goal came quite early. But before that goal came through, Manchester City absolutely battering Liverpool. I looked at it and gone...
Based on were they pushing, countering? I mean, were they...
They just had all of the ball.
Okay.
All of the ball. Basically, the first time Liverpool got the ball, they scored a goal.
Okay.
Right.
That really must hurt.
Typical Liverpool fashion, you know?
That must hurt as a Manchester City, because you guys are going hard. Manchester is. And then all of a sudden... Because we've been that in our real lives, right? Where you go hard, and you know you got it. And then they get the first shot, goal. So...
And it was a shot worthy of a goal.
Oh, absolutely!
Got to say that.
It's still depressing.
Yeah, definitely. That makes it even worse. You know,
yeah,
just like
that's right.
All this hard work. Yeah, it's kind of like.
The Ripper. Oh god, that was actually one of my. I think that's one of the goals of the season. It has to be.
Well, like if you look back at it in time, right? Like some of the goals, you know, when it happens, you're like, whoa, that was amazing.
Oh
right?
come on, that first goal was.
But looking back in time, I think it'll be. Like if someone just looked at the best goal scored by Liverpool and they see that goal, they'll be like, oh yeah, that was a pretty good goal.
No, I'm talking about just for the season. I'm saying one of the best goals for the season.
Oh no. So what I'm trying to get at here is that the context made it better.
Okay.
Because first of all, you know, it's this big game. Man City had like all of the play up until that point. You know, it's the top two playing against each other, and nobody saw it coming. Like
right.
The ball goes to Fabinho, right? You expect him to sort of look for the cross. There was a pass on. There was a nice through ball on. There was I can't remember who was free. It might have been Salah or someone or one of the full backs or something. But he just takes a touch to the right, and just bang.
Look, I think that all counts when it's about who you play, what you're playing for, and that sort of thing. That all counts with the goal. And that right there was to set it up, to really, I guess, open up the game and go, okay, here we are. What are you going to do about it?
Well, it's not even like that needed the opening up because the game, the pace of the game was like exactly the same after that because it was already at 100 miles an hour. And but I guess that's what I'm saying because when you rewind and look back at like all the goals scored, you kind of you don't have all that context. You know?
True.
Because I don't know if you get the feeling that like you remember a goal, you're like, oh, that was an amazing goal, right? And then you look through the highlight reel, like, it wasn't actually,
I think it was.
You know what I mean?
He was way outside that box.
He was
honestly,
outside.
That was and
the amount of power he got.
The power,
with basically no like.
That's what I mean. The power, the goalkeeper.
The ball was dead.
Was it Bravo? He had no chance. All I'm saying is there was just a straight rip. It wasn't even.
That's it. The keeper had like
no
zero chance. Zero chance.
He did whatever he could,
and he couldn't even. It was bad defending because the defender should have blocked off that straight because it was the near post, right? The defender should be stopping that.
Correct,
but he didn't, and then the keeper had the whole goal to protect basically. And from that distance, usually right.
You
should be able to get that.
Also, like you said though, who'd expected that though?
And no one expected it. Yeah. You just look at every time I've seen that. I've seen the replays of this game like 5 or 6 times this week.
Yeah, no doubt.
I just keep watching it. I can have that on repeat.
Yeah.
And every time that goal was scored, I just go.
Yes,
that was wow! Like you could feel the crowd getting up. And
I was
everything.
speaking to you off mic, and I was thinking, I'll tell you what, and this is for people listening now. Is Liverpool, man, you guys don't disappoint with the goals. I tell you, it's beautiful goals. It's always good goals.
You can thank Man City for that one because unless they're good goals, they're not going in because
Yeah,
that team
right.
is very hard.
No, but I'm talking about
get
even
through.
just in generally speaking, Liverpool has entertained.
They have been very creative. Let's just say with the way they've been scoring their goals.
I mean, look, and also just
they come from everywhere.
Even just the way. I mean, it's just. If it's not the way the goal scored, it's definitely the situation. You know, like with Aston Villa, that was amazing.
The last minute 2 goals, way to put your fans and your coach through heart attack and way to get stress them out. But I can't remember who it was. I think it was the owner's daughter or something like that. And he said, she said rather. Well, if you're prone to heart attacks or something like that, or you want stressing, if you don't want stress, Liverpool is not the team for you to follow. Do not follow Liverpool because they go
even the opponents
roller coaster all the way up and down. You know,
I know when Newcastle. I know I'll go for Newcastle, but if we're playing Liverpool and I'm like say 2 goals up, I'm stressing
it's like,
because it can happen anytime.
No, you've given me hope. What have you done? No, not
Aston
against these
Villa,
guys.
look what happened. Honestly, I know they were only 1-0 up, but still, I think they were playing decently well, and
they were playing very well. Yeah, I have to say
they did nearly everything they could, and that's what happens. So,
yep.
But what a game though! That 3-1 game. It was unbelievable.
Yeah. We'll going on. I guess. Did you see the VAR controversy?
No, I did not see actually the VAR.
Do you know anything about it?
I don't.
Oh wow! Okay, so that's another big.
Or maybe I just refresh the memory.
We'll go through the other 2 goals, 3 goals, right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
So obviously after that happened, Liverpool scored 7 minutes later with absolutely one of the most amazing build-ups to a goal. Not in the sense that it was 600 passes. There were 2 passes.
Yeah.
There were 2 passes. One was from the right back.
Yeah.
Left-footed pass from one side of the pitch to the other fullback. Takes 1 touch and then sends this immaculate cross that just bounces perfectly.
So good.
And then bounces at the perfect height for Salah to just tap it in, basically. And it was just the most sublime counter-attacking example. You just think, wow, like that's not a bad goal to concede.
Absolutely not.
That's the level that teams have to defend at to keep Liverpool out. You know, they don't do this 10 times a game. But you only need to do it once or twice, depending on how many goals you concede. But and that made it 2-0 in 12 minutes, and you just think, yes, this is going to be a good day for Liverpool. And Man City were battering them the whole time. And they didn't let them have much. It kind of reminded me of the Liverpool Manchester United game, right? Mm-hmm. Except the shoe was on the other foot, right?
Yeah.
Like Liverpool's doing most of the defending. Manchester City was doing most of the attacking. And Liverpool just had that counter option and they used it. But they actually put him away, Unlike Manchester United in that other game. If Manchester United had those options, then they would have won against Liverpool. They would have been 3-0 up by half-time.
Yeah.
And Liverpool were clinical in this game, and in that sense, things could have gone less good for them more easily. So it was a bit fortunate for them in that they put their chances away because they don't always do it. But it ended up being 2-0 at half-time. Just after the break, Man City revamped, and they kept going. But once again, Liverpool was pulled out this another source you wouldn't expect it from. Henderson just makes this run like Trent Alexander-Arnold down the right. I thought it was Trent Alexander-Arnold when he did it. Just knocks it forward, and then the guy that was marking him just thought, "What?" Like he was off guard. He didn't expect that to happen.
I didn't expect that to happen.
And he just pushed it back and pushed it down the line and got to the edge of the the penalty area, sends this perfect cross in. Sadio Mane on the back post. Keeper was a bit out of position, but just the perfection of the cross just didn't give him that much time to readjust. It was a small mistake, but it was a mistake that cost them a goal, and just couldn't get enough onto it to keep it out. And that made it, when it got to 3-0, I thought, yeah, this is done. Like the game's over. The score's not over. I know we're going to concede, but the game is, the result is over.
No doubt. Especially then they scored the last goal as well, which is Manchester City, but it was again too late. And it was such a good game though, honestly, from from Liverpool, and now honestly, no one can anything. They're gonna run away with this. There's no ifs and buts about it. For me personally, I know as a fan you might be like, listen, nothing is solid. We've got a lot of games to play. It's only 12 games this season, absolutely. But let me tell you something. They've got this. Honestly, the way they're playing, it's not even where they're at now, but the way they're playing, it's just, I don't see them being beat this season.
Well, I mean, it is 12 games in. And last season they were 10 points up with less games to go.
I know what you're saying, but now I don't think Man City... Come on now. I don't know if Man City's going to have that sort of season.
Well, again. Manchester City is...
And I don't see anyone else, Chelsea or top four right now. What, Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City. I don't see them...
Well, let's remember now that there's a 9-point gap from Liverpool to City, but there's only an 8-point gap to Leicester and Chelsea.
Leicester City, yeah.
Manchester City are now fourth, which is kind of weird. It's just because we all... So no one feels like they're the fourth best team, but that's just how the fixtures have gone. Leicester and Chelsea are yet to play City this season. Chelsea is playing them next week. Yeah. Or not next week, but after the international break. So at Manchester City. So that'll be something's going to give that, obviously. And you kind of expect Manchester City to win that, especially because they're at home and because they're just better than Chelsea.
Yeah, better than Chelsea, especially what they've got,
and then Leicester, they play against Leicester around the time that Liverpool is in Dubai for the Club World Cup. And that's actually another story that I forgot to mention before. I don't know if you know about this. Liverpool's in the Club World Cup, which is this...
Liverpool is?
Yeah, Liverpool is, because as the Champions League winners. So the Champions League winners, they play against essentially the Champions League winners of the other federations.
Okay.
So Africa, Asia, South America, North America, all those. And there's like some sort of...
Australia?
Yeah, like a Pacific sort of region. But Australia's in the Asian one, so cool. You don't play any Australian teams there. Yeah. So they're in this competition, which is, of course, smack bang in the middle of December, the worst time for any English team to play anything ever extracurricular, and it clashes with the League Cup. So that win against Arsenal, the 5-5 that ended up with a penalty shootout.
Yes.
If they'd lost that, there'd be no issues, right? But unfortunately, they did not lose that. They won, which means they go to the next round. They're supposed to play Aston Villa, and the fixture is less than 24 hours before they need to be in Dubai playing another game.
How do they all manage that? This has not happened.
Well, it has... Similar things have happened before, but okay. They didn't do this. They didn't do 22-hour gap.
Well, that's what I mean, yeah.
But, so they went to the table. They said, all right, let's have a look. Is there any other place we can put this game? Right? You look at the list. Every single weekend and midweek is taken up by either league games, Champions League games, or all the way up to the next League Cup round, the semi-final. So everything is just taken up by something, and more because of the the Christmas period where they play like 3 games a week. It's just ridiculous. So there's nowhere to move it. They tried to do something, but club said, "Look, this is the best end result for us." Is having this game 22 hours before we're meant to be in Dubai. That's of all the options. They gave them like 3 or 4 options, and that was the best one. Like that was according to Klopp.
Wow.
So it's not like the other league. So basically, the odds for that game now are $1.20 for Aston Villa to win. But the thing is, the teams that Liverpool have used in the League Cup, have basically been... I don't think they've used a single first 11 member in any of the squads, not even on the bench.
No.
They've always had the fringe players sort of,
And obviously I'm guessing Oxford-Chamberlain is not first team.
No, he's not first team at the moment. So he's sort of like a super sub at this stage. He scored some ripper goals.
Oh, absolutely.
In the last few games. Yeah. So at this point they're gonna make 2 squads. One squad to face because in Dubai they go in at the semi-final stage of the competition, and then so there'll be a semi-final and then there'll be a final 3 days later. they're going to have some squad playing in the League Cup of mainly the young kids, I think, and sort of similar to what they've had up until this point. Probably with a few less people because they'll need someone to go on the bench.
Yep.
And to make things even worse, the under-21s have a game on the same day. So they can't even use the under-21s to play
I was
there.
going to say,
so
actually,
I don't know where they're
the
going to pull these numbers from.
Yeah.
I don't know where the numbers are going to come from. So it's going to be Klopp's just accepted it, and he's going to be moving on with that. So
it'll be very interesting in our next podcast on how that actually goes.
Well, that's not until...
I know, that's not until December.
No, is it December? Yeah, it is December. So
yeah.
In a couple of weeks, we'll see how that goes. But I think there's enough on those ones. I did forget to go to VAR, but we'll just talk about VAR generally now. Now, in this particular game with Liverpool and Manchester City, we're talking a lot about this game for good reason. I mean, it's by far the greatest thing that happened this week.
Absolutely. It's a rip-off again.
And it's
I know some people look at the scoreline 3-1, but if you had actually watched the game, even the highlights, because I watched the highlights, that was exciting. And I didn't know the scores.
I would say a fairer scoreline would probably be maybe 2-1 to Liverpool, something like that. 3-2, maybe, something like that. Manchester City had more of the ball, more shots, more on target and all that stuff. But Liverpool defended... actually, they didn't have more shots on target. They had more shots off target because Liverpool was not letting them get the shots on target. Liverpool's defending was more on point, but Man City's attacking was more on point as well. So it was quite even. But ultimately, this goal at the start, right? So the goal that started it all in the 5th minute from Fabinho. Did we talk about the handball rule, right? You know, it's different for attackers and different for defenders, right?
Yes.
It almost came into play here where it would have been better off for Fabinho not to score that goal because it would have conceded a penalty because he scored the goal. But it wasn't quite like that. So what happened earlier on is that in the lead up to that goal, Trent Alexander-Arnold handballed in the box, right? And the ball hit him. His arm was out here. You can't say it was near his body or anything like that. He was basically like spread eagle.
It was spread eagle, yeah.
You know, he couldn't really, I'm sure he was trying to get his arm out of the way. He wasn't trying to block it or anything, but it would normally be a handball. But milliseconds before that, it came off Bernardo Silva's arm to hit him in the arm.
Okay.
Which would have so that cancels that out, which is why this wasn't given, right? Otherwise, it would have been VAR. No, bring it back. It's a penalty for Man City. So instead of a goal for Liverpool, penalty for Man City. You know, it's one of those ridiculous overturning things. And Man City, up until even after the final whistle, they're still. Why wasn't that a penalty? They don't understand, why. Maybe when they looked at the game now, they go, okay, hit Bernardo's on first.
No, actually, sorry, I saw that. You
did see this.
And Pep Guardiola was just, he was livid.
He was, and then later on in the game, there was another handball, but that one, he had his arm right next to him. He literally could not have done anything more other than chop his arm off. And so that was definitely not a penalty. And Pep, when he saw that...
Yeah, did you see? Yes, I was going to say.
And he's like, he's just looking at the sky. To the heavens, yeah, exactly. As if, that's where VAR is, in the heavens.
2 penalties.
Oh, he was absolutely raging.
No, he was raging. He couldn't believe it.
But even he admitted after game how, it was a good game and that the Premier League probably owes him and Klopp a bottle of wine for the show that they're putting, the advertising they're doing for the Premier League.
Would you think that one of them should have been given? I know you said,
the penalties.
Yeah.
So none of them should have been given, and I'm not saying that because initially I thought the first one should have been given.
But you saw that, and it was...
But it came off Bernardo Silva's arm first.
So it's cancelled.
So if it comes off his arm first, then if anything, it's a Liverpool free kick. But
because
I thought there was a rule that if there's a handball that creates another handball, then it's not a handball because. If not for the first handball, the second handball would have happened, right? But it's actually just if it hits off someone just before it hits your arm, even if it hits off yourself before it hits your arm. So, for example, you chest it down, it hits your chest, and then hits your arm or something like that. Then that's not a handball because it's like you don't have enough time to make that adjustment or anything like that. But there is no such rule that if it's a handball, then the next handball gets cancelled out or something like that. It's just that it would have been a Liverpool free kick. And the City players are arguing that, like, even if it wasn't a handball, then play should have stopped, for one handball or the other, They're just trying to say the play should have stopped, right? But obviously, VAR had a look at it. They saw nothing wrong with it. They're not going to give... it's a tricky situation. I mean, what do you think, right? So, I mean, it could have been that because the first handball was Bernardo Silva's handball, Liverpool get the free kick, but instead of getting the free kick, it's, advantage goal, right? But because after the handball, there was the subsequent handball after that, do you think it should have been like, okay, we got to stop it either one or the other, or is play on okay?
I think
by you.
Look, obviously, I'm not a world class ref who's
you don't need to be
reffing, the highest league in the world.
We're pundits of the highest level, so we're okay. We're okay.
All right, so I would have just let the play go on. If it's a cancellation of both, I'd just let the play go on, especially when they.
So you're saying depending on what the rules, how it's supposed to be interpreted. You're saying.
Oh no!
Or are you saying
it's just a
like,
on the fly?
Yeah.
But if you're talking about the rules and how
who cares about the rules? Like,
But on how it's interpreted, on how you would interpret it, I would interpret it as, look, it's hard, but I would just let the play go on if it was me.
Abdul has spoken. Play should go on.
Play should go on.
The goal's fine.
That's what. Yeah, don't let it stop. I mean, if people are still arguing this, I guess that's if people sort of stop. You know what I mean? But people don't stop. People just
no. They were just sort of running with their arms in the air,
Yeah, that's right.
So they were just still, and then as soon as the goal went in, they started complaining to the ref as well.
Oh, that's right.
Like,
I would let the play go on,
but they kept going.
And I'm like, look, there's a handball to another handball. I mean, it actually should have been their ball, but really, I'll let you guys get away with it. So
yeah.
I mean, I would let the play go on.
Yeah, it's a tough one, and I think part of it is also because of the way that the goals score. I can't help but feel that the referees get influenced by that. And they think, if I call this back, I'm going to look real bad. I'm going to be, crucified for this. I'm going straight onto the cross.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, you just got to stick with your guns sometimes. You got to stick with your guns. And I would have let the play go on. And
which decision would make the least amount of people hate me? All right, I'm just going to let this go. I'm going to let this go. You're a referee, that's it.
You hate it. So if it's not going their way, they'll blame you for it. If you do give it their way, if you do award it, guess what? The other team are going to be like, oh, it's going to be the other team.
Yeah, well, someone's going to complain. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. So it doesn't really matter.
You have no friends as a ref. So.
Pep Guardiola and Klopp were both calling for consistency at the end of it, though. Because there's a bit of frustration over the fact that decisions have inconsistency. What is a penalty? What isn't a penalty? What's a handball? What's not a handball? And even Klopp said that. So after a game like that, if the winning coach says that you got to fix this consistency thing, I think he's got a point.
No, he definitely has a point. I mean, the thing is, I'm just talking about when we're talking about it. We're just talking about it for that play.
Yeah.
But if you're talking about like the whole, look, we've seen many games where it's like. The inconsistency there, where they give one and then guess what? The next game they really don't give it on the same circumstances.
That's just it. It's kind of like, is it because the ref didn't give it, or because like? I mean,
they've got VAR now, so.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like if you have objective rules, right? Rules that it doesn't matter who's refereeing or whatever. It's either it's a foul or it's not a foul. Then it makes it easier to have consistency, right? But if it's all kind of like, I think that shouldn't be a foul because this happened, or that shouldn't be a foul because that happened, or whatever, that's when you start getting people angry because
and fair enough as well.
Yeah, no, it's definitely justified. But
absolutely.
The amount of whinging that was going on after this was still like
I think without the whinging,
there was still 85 minutes left in that game, and
I'm not gonna lie to you. Look, without those even penalties, just take those out. Honestly. Manchester played well at certain spurts, but I feel Liverpool overall, I think they were the better team, and that's what happened.
Yeah, I think a lot of credit goes to Man City because it's at the moment Liverpool have not lost at home for I can't remember how long now. It's been like 50-something games, 50-plus games or something like that, or 40, at least 40-something games. Very hard place to go. So to get a win for Man City is just sort of, very difficult.
No, absolutely.
And the last team to have beaten Liverpool was Manchester City, but that was at Manchester City.
Yeah.
So different story. So to have come to Liverpool and done what they did,
No
because Liverpool were very clinical, and there's games where you're not going to be as clinical, and that game's going to be a lot closer. The fact that the goals went in, and they don't always do that, then it made the game seem a lot further apart than it was.
Absolutely.
It was like toe-to-toe stuff. Massive game. I can see why Pep's frustrated in these little margins.
Oh, for sure. And it's also because it adds to it that it's a big game as well.
Yeah, exactly. So, and all this stupid talk in the in the background.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's a big game, and there's always drama before that big game. But speaking of big games, I mean, not as big, obviously. These other games are going to be like insignificant.
Yeah, they do feel insignificant, don't they? But
but you look at Manchester United. That's a straight win. Obvious, well done on them.
Let's give them a bit of credit there. I mean, Manchester United, they beat Brighton.
Okay. Why am I giving credit?
Because you said Manchester United.
They're supposed to win.
Straight win.
Yeah, they're supposed to win 3-1.
Oh well, sorry, it's at home. I thought they were away from home, but
no, they were at home.
No, but I do want to give them a bit more credit because, and this is only going to be quick.
No, don't be nice to them.
21 shots, 11 on target, to 6 and 2. They missed, I believe, was it this game where they missed?
Did you see Rashford?
Rashford, yeah, he missed an absolute sitter.
What the hell?
Absolute sitter. And that actually reminds me of a very funny stat for this week. So just take a seat for this one because this is gonna. Okay. No player in this entire game week scored more than one goal.
Wow!
And that was the closest that anyone came to scoring more than one goal.
Jesus!
So he did that. And
everyone had just one goal.
No, and not only that, only one player was, funnily enough, in that same game.
Yeah.
Got more than one goal. What is it called? Goal or assist. Goal contribution.
Yeah.
Martial got 2 assists in that game.
He did, yeah.
Nobody else got more than one goal or an assist in the entire game week.
I mean, you just talk about... That's crazy. That's actually a crazy stat. That's a crazy stat.
And that could have changed it, but it didn't.
But I won't be nice to Manchester United because that is they're supposed to win that one. Wolves, Aston Villa, Wolves... I think it was a pretty interesting game. Aston Villa just...
Wolves are sort of getting a grip hold, aren't they?
They are.
But Aston Villa, once again, just after consecutive games against Manchester City and Liverpool, where they held them off quite well for most of the game.
Yeah.
Still couldn't do it against Wolves, who are also a very strong team. And they're away from home. Yeah. So it was a commendable effort. I think
it was actually a competitive that one. That was good.
Oh, of course it was.
Then you got Leicester, Arsenal, my goodness.
Well, yeah, all right, we'll go with that because that was not competitive. That one.
No, it wasn't competitive. I'm not here to say it's competitive, but it was an interesting win.
Oh, definitely
for Leicester.
Definitely.
I know they were supposed to at home, but Arsenal are now just gripping. I mean, Arsenal was. Look, what's the stat you said they had?
21 shots, was it?
21.
Oh no, was it 19?
8 shots, 1 shot on target the whole game. Yeah. Imagine this halftime coming out, telling the boys, guys, come on.
Well, halftime it was 0-0.
No, what I'm saying is halftime. All right, come on, let's go at it, boys.
Well, I don't know if you
seriously
saw the highlights.
Did he tell them to just shoot 1 shot on target? Was that the message?
I think that shot had already been done.
So he didn't even.
I think it did come in the second half.
It did come in the second half. What in the world?
Did you watch the game?
I watched the highlights.
Yeah, I watched the highlights.
The extended. I don't need to watch.
No. So the reason I say that is because, in the first half, it was basically just
unbelievable.
All Leicester. Like it was. I think they had 8 shots or something like that in the first half.
Yeah.
That were on target or close to it. They could have scored like 6 times in the first half. They didn't. It was 0-0, and you kind of thought, will they rue those missed opportunities? Second half, it was just exactly the same. Like usually after a game like that, because technically these guys are playing for the same spot, right? They're playing for the top 4 at the moment. And this was kind of the game where Leicester sort of goes, this is for real, This isn't... Like, the other teams that they were beating, it was great wins. 9-0 against Southampton. Yeah, but it was Southampton, right? This game was the one where you kind of go, they're at home, they're expected to win this game. Expected, not expected. You know what I mean?
I know exactly.
Like, this is one where if it's for real, right?
Correct, yeah.
And they just, they didn't blink an eye, It was like they've been doing this for the last 10 years, You would have been forgiven for thinking it was the other way around. That it was, Arsenal playing against, Leicester or, traditionally. Because Leicester do not have a big history. No. People don't understand this, that Leicester have only won, I think it's two First Division titles.
Okay.
They possibly that was their first, the one that they won, right? So this isn't even a team like Aston Villa who have won 7 titles back in the day.
Yeah. There's no history. There's nothing to look back on other than, of course, that win that they had, which is phenomenal. What a thing to look back on. But
or Tottenham even. I mean, Tottenham have only won twice, right? Yeah. But they've won a lot of cups and things like that. They had some really strong teams in the past. Leicester doesn't have all this history. So for them to come out and do what they're doing now, especially in the current era where all these teams are playing so well, you got Liverpool playing at this super high level with Manchester City. Chelsea to have done what they did this season is weird as well. You kind of expect them to fall away.
No, absolutely.
With their kids, but...
Again, 12 games, though, they could fall off. It's a marathon, not a sprint, but... that's
no, but they're just getting better and better. That's the thing. It's not like they're.
We'll come to Chelsea. I mean, I'm not.
Well, Chelsea next week we get.
I'm still not as convinced.
Oh, definitely
with Chelsea.
Definitely not.
But we'll come to it. Tottenham, Sheffield United. I mean, that's a Tottenham again. I don't know when they're going.
Well, look, Sheffield once again. They've shown that. I don't think they've. I think that they've played. They haven't played Manchester City yet.
Yeah.
But they gave Liverpool a scare.
Yeah.
Everyone was laughing at Liverpool for, man, you almost didn't win against Sheffield. But Sheffield came from behind against Chelsea to make it 2-2. They came from behind here against Tottenham to make it 1-1. They